What if holiness isn't about perfection, but about practice? In Holy Habits, you'll experience the small, consistent rhythms that build a life of purpose and peace. From reading scripture to finding mentors, these habits don't just change what you do, they change who you become. Join Sycamore Creek for this 6-week series leading up to Easter. Holy Habits, small choices, sacred rhythms, a life that lasts.
When I was in high school, I hated group projects. I was often chosen either by the teacher or by my group to be the leader of the group project, and my biggest struggle with group projects was getting participation and commitment from everyone in the group. It rarely happened. Someone wouldn't follow through with their part of the project, and inevitably I would be left doing more work than agreed upon, and I wasn't willing to let the project fail, so I'd take on way too much. I wasn't reasonable in what I expected of others. I didn't take the time to figure out how to best work together as a group. And I had terrible boundaries and even worse communication with the people in my group. We would finish our group project, and I'd feel disgruntled and frustrated with the group. I hated group projects. Maybe like me, you found that anytime you work together with a group of people, there can be challenges. Group projects are part of life. Group projects happen in work settings, in school settings, in organizational settings, and group projects, they can be difficult. Today, we're going to talk about the habit of contributing to a church. And contributing to a church can be a bit like a group project. Well, we're going to call this habit contributing to a team, the church. But before we get into this habit, let's recognize that there's some real barriers to participation with the group project that is a church. A big barrier to contributing to a team is that churches have hurt people. Churches have hurt people over really stupid things like the clothes we wear. I was talking to a man recently about not being allowed to attend a worship service because he wasn't wearing a jacket or a tie. That's an extreme example, but it can happen in all sorts of ways where churches have communicated you're not welcome because of what you're wearing. Churches have also hurt people over really serious things like who we are and whether we're welcome or how we're able to participate because of who we are. Again, I was talking recently to a woman about not being able to hold leadership positions in a church because she was a woman. Take that same person with all the same gifting and characteristics, but as a male, and they'd be fine and welcome to participate in leadership. Churches have hurt people over money and relationships and economic status and power and beliefs and the mistakes we've made in our lives, and I could go on and on. The plain and simple truth is that leaders in churches, people in churches, hurt people. And if that's you, I'm sorry. Your experience is heartbreaking and valid. If you've been hurt by Sycamore Creek Church, whether it's our leaders or the people in our church, I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you that our church never hurts people, but we're not perfect and we've hurt people. I'm not perfect, and I'm sure I've hurt people. In fact, anytime we're in a group or organization, including churches, there's plenty of pain. When you have groups, you will have painful experiences at times, and churches can be painful, and that pain can keep us from churches. And then there's also the fact that life is hard and busy. We might be struggling to get through life, let alone to find the time or energy to engage with a church. We have lots of competing demands for our time, and the group project of the church can be one more thing to fit in life. Families move from one sports season to the next. Adults have work and households to maintain, and we have other interests and things that we're passionate about. There's so much going on. When my son Drew was first born, my wife Jana and I had just started to attend Sycamore Creek, and after Drew was born, life was hard and busy. Drew didn't eat well for several weeks after his birth, and we were working hard to keep that little guy alive. We were exhausted. We disappeared from Sycamore Creek for almost 2 months while we adjusted to life with a newborn. life is hard and busy. If we make it through the pain and the challenges and the busyness of life to actually showing up at a church, well, sometimes it can be hard to connect with that church. The message or the worship service might be boring. The people might be difficult. The music might be too loud or too quiet, or it's songs you don't know. And, we show up to things a church offers, like a worship service or a small group or a community outreach project, and there are all sorts of barriers we might encounter to having a good experience. And in the midst of all the valid pain and the real life struggles, we have at least two options when it comes to the group project of the church. We can choose to engage, or we can choose to disengage with the church. Today, we are continuing in our series, Holy Habits. It's based on a book of that name by Noah Heron. Holy habits are daily habits that help us to stay in love with God. In a letter that's attributed to Paul, he wrote to Timothy, "While physical training is of some value, godliness is valuable in every way, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come." So this series is about the habits that are part of training, the training in godliness or holiness that Paul writes about. And the goal of this series is to give us habits, tangible things we can do again and again that draw us closer to God. And these holy habits, they lead to big changes in our lives as we deepen our relationship with God. We're training together in godliness. An encounter with Jesus will set us free. And Noah Heron reminds us our spiritual habits will keep us free. And our habit for today is the group project that is the church. We're going to talk about contributing to a team. An encounter with Jesus will set us free. Our contributing to a team will keep us free. Now, before we get to engaging with a church, let's pause a moment for a chat question where you can reflect on your own experiences with the challenge of group projects. So here's our first question for discussion. Describe your experience with group projects. How's it gone for you? Let's take a moment and let's talk about that. If we're going to draw closer to God, and if we're going to be transformed into someone who's more and more filled with God's love and sharing that love with others, then we need the holy habit of contributing to a team. And the team that we're talking about today is God's team, the church. That's church with a big C, because the church, well, it takes many forms. And I want to highlight the word that I'm using today, which is contribute. Contribute to a team. That's an important word. It's part of the reason why here at Sycamore Creek we use the term partners instead of members. Contributing to a team isn't just about what you get from the team, it's about what you have to offer to the team too. There's a mutual benefit to the team of the church that isn't only about receiving, it's also about giving of yourself to something that's bigger than you. So let's explore why it's worthwhile to contribute to the group project, to the team that is the church. Contribute to a team because, first of all, it's not all about you. Secondly, teammates make you better. And third, you were made to contribute. So let's start with it's not all about you. This is, again, the idea where contributing is so important because church is more than just a place to meet all of our needs. If that's our approach, we're going to be disappointed by the group project that's the church. Long before I became a pastor, I represented Sycamore Creek as a volunteer in a church growth workshop. And as part of the workshop, we were asked to describe what church is to us. And people gave great answers. It's my family. It's where I have my people. And my answer was, it's where I encounter God and am transformed. Everyone looked at me weirdly when I gave my answer. And the weirdness of my answer, well, that may have been a sign of my future calling someday to become a pastor. The church is a community, and it's a community centered on encountering God together, being transformed by God through that encounter and sharing God's love with others. Yes, we can find family through a church. Yes, we can find our people through the church. But it isn't limited to that. The church doesn't exist just for the church. The mission of Sycamore Creek to ignite authentic life in Christ and fan it into an all-consuming flame isn't just for you. It's for you to share with others. And the church offers engagement with people around us so that we might encounter God through them and be transformed. And at the same time, we can help others to encounter God and be transformed. At its best, church reminds us it's not all about you. Life is much bigger than that. And this is countercultural. Our culture tells us that everything is about me and my needs. And well, you and your needs are important. We just spent a whole series talking about that in Strong Like Water. But focusing only on you and your needs, it doesn't bring happiness and fulfillment and life to the full. You see, true community is going to cost us something. It's so easy to yearn for community, but then it's just as easy to actively reject what it truly looked like. If you want a community that doesn't cost you anything, well, that's not community, it's selfishness. Contributing to a team isn't always going to be easy. There's a cost to it. That's a good thing. We need to get out of focusing only on ourselves. God works through community to transform us and to grow us. Contribute to a team because it's not all about you. Second, contribute to a team because teammates make you better. They make you better. And here's the fun thing about this idea. Even bad teammates can make you better. You see, we're all on a journey toward becoming more like Christ, which is being filled with God's love. It's a journey or a process. And the churchy word for this process is sanctification. That's becoming more like Christ, more filled with God's love. And one of the most helpful, although it doesn't always feel like it, things for our process of becoming more like Christ is for us to not get our own way. When we're around people or in situations that we would not choose, God has a way of working through that to grow us in love. Not every teammate in the church is a person that we would choose. Now, let me be clear here. I'm talking about discomfort, not active harm. We sometimes mistake discomfort for harm. When we are at our best, we are learning and growing with people who are the least like us, and that can be uncomfortable. People with similar interests and ways of thinking, well, that can be a lot of fun, but real differences, they have a way of growing and deepening our capacity for love. And this is where even bad teammates can make you better, through the discomfort of difference. People who annoy you in a small group, they don't have to cause you to leave the group. That's discomfort. And discomfort can lead you to loving more like Jesus. People who don't do what they say they're going to do may frustrate you. It frustrates me. But they don't have to lead you to leave. This is discomfort. And they can help you to develop patience and endurance. Teammates make you better. Go through life by yourself, and I guarantee you'll develop blind spots and you'll limit your growth and your transformation. Finally, contribute to a team because you were made to contribute. When it comes to participating in any organization, there's a tension between consuming and contributing. And there are seasons of life when this tension is going to swing one way or another, toward needing more and receiving more, or toward offering and giving more. But it should rarely be all or nothing. Consuming costs very little of us, and therefore it doesn't change us much at all. Consuming causes us to be around the things of God without fully benefiting from the things of God. Consuming is not engagement. On the other hand, contributing is engaging. Consuming is passive. Contributing is active. I recently started meeting new people at Sycamore Creek once a month for a McDonald's milkshake. And while we've had some challenges with the milkshake machine at McDonald's working, I have loved meeting people and hearing their stories. It's been so encouraging to hear about how God is working in and through people to bring them to Sycamore Creek. And I loved hearing the perspectives and the experiences that have shaped people. Well, one person shared that Sycamore Creek is a place where they truly feel welcome, and they love that we particularly welcome people from the LGBTQ community. And that meant so much to them that it meant them returning to church. They said that without Sycamore Creek, in a place that's really welcoming to everyone, they wouldn't have been a part of a church. Each month I've met for milkshakes, I've left encouraged by the amazing people that God has brought to Sycamore Creek. They're a gift. You have something to offer to the people around you, to the church. Your perspective matters. Your experiences and your skills matter. Your voice matters. You have a part to play and a role to fill in the church just by being you. You were made to contribute. It's so tempting to go through life on our own because people are hard. Churches can be difficult to engage, and yet contribute to a team because it's not all about you. Because teammates make you better, and because you were made to contribute. An encounter with Jesus will set us free. Our spiritual habit, our holy habit of contributing to a team will keep us free. Let's pause to contemplate these reasons for contributing to a team. Here's our next question for discussion. Which reasons for contributing to a team? That's not all about you, that teammates make you better, or that you're made to contribute, resonate with you, and why? Let's take a moment and let's talk about that. Our holy habit, the thing we're going to do again and again to draw us closer to God and who God would have us be, is to contribute to a team. Let's talk about how to do that through 4 simple ways that we can contribute to the team that is the church. Show up consistently, lean in, participate openly, and serve. Well, let's start with show up consistently. If you want the most benefit from something like exercising, do it consistently. If you want to get better at a skill, practice it consistently. If you want to transform your health, eat healthy foods consistently. When it comes to contributing to a team, consistently has more impact than occasionally. Whatever you do, whether it's attending worship or serving in some area or participating in a group or finding someone from the church to get together with for coffee, be consistent. And when you show up, lean in. This is a literal physical move that you can do that communicates interest. There's a whole field of research on interpreting body language and the signals that we convey to others through the ways that we move and use our bodies. And well, some of us are better than this at others. Than I think body language can be a bit like learning a foreign language, right? So some of us pick up other foreign languages better than others. But there are a few words that all of us can learn. And the thing about body language is that it doesn't just communicate to others, it can communicate back to us and to our bodies. And the ways we move our bodies reinforce our experiences. For example, what do you notice about the people in this picture? Are they engaged? Are they excited? Whatever they're present for, they've shown up in that picture, but they're not engaged. They're slouched all over. They're looking away from whatever is happening. One person has their head down on the table. In contrast, when we lean in, we're showing interest. And that's not interest for the sake of convincing someone else that we're interested. It reinforces in our bodies that we're engaged. Even when you're fighting disengagement, leaning in can help your body engage. Show up consistently, yes, and engage with the team. Lean in. And as you lean in, participate openly. Get to know people. Let them get to know you. Engage with people. Take a risk and put yourself out there a little bit, and then a little more. Answer the chat questions in worship as best as you're able. Greet people around you as you participate in worship. Try a small group, and then a different group. Participate in events. Invite a friend to join you for a group or event. Interact with and participate with people as you show up consistently. And finally, serve. Now, there are defined roles in churches, including here at Sycamore Creek, where you can volunteer and serve others, but serving is much bigger than just fulfilling a role. Serving is a way of living where we both take care of ourselves and we consistently work to support, encourage, and care for others. Serving is looking for problems to solve and being part of the solution. Serving is responding to the needs of people around you and being part of the answer to their prayers. My first serving role at Sycamore Creek was as part of the setting up team for Kids Creek, back when Sycamore Creek met at Lansing Christian School. You can see me there in the back row of that picture. I'd go in on Saturday and I'd rearrange classrooms and cover areas where we didn't want children to go in those classrooms so we could have children's ministry on Sunday morning. And I never thought as I was doing that it would lead to leading a small group someday and leading a small group ministry someday at Sycamore Creek and preaching and leading the youth group. But I have found meaning and purpose in serving the church way before I became a pastor. And serving has allowed me to form great relationships and to make an important contribution to the life of others. You see, serving is a tangible representation that participating in a church isn't just about what I receive, it's about what I have to offer to others. Contribute to a team, show up consistently, lean in, participate openly, serve. And again, why? Well, because it's not all about you. And because teammates make you better, and because you were made to contribute. For my role as a local pastor, I'm required by the United Methodist Church to take seminary classes called Course of Study. And a few years ago, as part of my Course of Study classes, I took a class on transformational leadership. The syllabus described our final assignment for the class. Here's how it described it. The class will be divided into groups of 4 to 5 persons for a group project. Oh no. It continued, each group will be given a ministry scenario with its own leadership challenges, and each member of the group will contribute collaboratively to a final paper. That paper will be the basis for a class presentation, and the goal of this assignment is to take learnings from our ministry experiences, readings, and class discussions about transformational leadership. A group project. You know by now how I feel about group projects. However, I've learned, despite my misgivings in high school, that group projects can be really helpful. You see, it's not all about me, and teammates can make me better. And I was made to contribute. I've learned a lot from the pastors in my group. We all contributed to the final paper and to the presentation. With my PhD in cell molecular biology, I was by far the most experienced person in my group with academic writing. So my role in the group was to help with the writing of our paper and to edit our final draft. On the final day of class, after we'd given our presentations, we got our papers back. One of the group members came up to me at the end of that class, and he gave me a big hug. Now, the guy who gave me a hug was a bivocational pastor from Erie, Pennsylvania. And he drove a snowplow for the county during the winter, and he did road maintenance in the summer. And he taught me that an effective pastor or leader can come in all sorts of forms. We were incredibly different people with different perspectives and experiences, and we can both pastor and lead churches well. So back to the hug he gave me, I was like, what was that for? And he cheered up a little bit as he said, I've never gotten an A before on anything in school. This is my first A. Thank you so much for working on this project with me. I've shared our paper with everyone I know because it's the best paper I've ever written. Moments like that have transformed my perspective on group projects. Life is a group project. My hope and my prayer today is that you'd experience those moments as part of a church. Yes, church can be hard and painful. Yes, we hurt each other. Yes, life can be busy and hard. And you were made to contribute. It's not all about you. And teammates can make you better. An encounter with Jesus will set us free. Our spiritual habit, our holy habit of contributing to a team will keep us free. So together, let's show up consistently. Together, let's lean in. Together, let's participate openly. Together, let's serve our church, our community, and our world. And let's be transformed by this holy habit of contributing to a team. Amen.